and we're actually never live.
Well, I mean, we're live in this moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Way to clean that up, man. So,
Episode 23.
Episode 23. Running a little bit behind today, guys. Sorry. Our fearless leader here decided that he wanted to forget the microphone. So that was good.
But I did Mach 3 back to the house.
Yeah. I'm sure you put that siren on too.
I used my police privilege to run all red lights, stop
and
signs.
he used his white privilege. So
well, I mean, it's a double.
Yeah.
What would that be? It's like a, I don't know. That's like a privilege to the power of 10.
Shit, man.
Something like that. If I was a mathematician, some crazy shit like that, right?
Man. So funny story about us. Bromos can sometimes be a little bit tardy on current events. Heard that they put a man on the moon. Pretty cool story.
So, allegedly.
Alleged. I mean, I looked at it.
It's a little
CGI, maybe.
It's a little controversial.
You know, heard we had a black president. That's pretty cool.
I don't believe that.
And
this is America.
I also heard that there might have been a little bit of controversy at UFC 247 here in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, just UFCs.
Just a little bit of controversy,
bro.
So,
bro. A little bit of controversy?
A little bit of controversy went down, and the Bromos didn't talk about it initially, but we wanted to kind of give you guys our take on it. And, so one of our local refs, Joe Solis, he took a lot of heat from the social media, from the announcers. They personally, Dominic Cruz personally went after him and urged people to blast him publicly, which I was like, what in the shit? And so before we kind of get going on this, I wanted to address the elephant in the room. And so, yes, Joe Solis was my former instructor. Yes, I spent 6 years there at his academy. I received my purple, my brown, and my black belt from Joe Solis. Yes, most of you know that we ended on very bad terms. Definitely not going to be sending each other a Christmas card anytime soon. Probably about 20 years. Hispanic people like to hold a grudge.
That's what I've heard.
You dated a Hispanic woman. So, yes, you guys, I just want to be very transparent with you guys about, yes, I have a relationship or had a relationship with Joe Solis. And the only reason I bring that up as a point is because a lot of things that are going on in social media, they're trying to target him because of his relationships with certain fighters of that night and things like that. So full transparency, guys, I did have a relationship with Joe Solis for some time, and I only bring that up as a point because I don't want you guys to think that my opinion is driven based on when we were buddies and now we're not buddies. That's not what this is about. We're going to take like a whole different view on this whole thing. And the main thing I kind of wanted to talk about with you, Jason, was how I found it like odd that when Dominic made his comment and then people lost their shit on social media, that a lot of the reaction from the community was almost all the same about how this guy's got no business judging, he's got no business reffing, that he doesn't know anything. And so with that, I kind of wanted to just quickly talk to you guys about that and kind of educate you. So let's go look through this real quick. Joe's got 30 years of experience. Okay. He's one of the most complete martial artists I've ever known. At this point, he's most likely, if I had to guess, either a second degree or third degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt in judo, and he's one of the highest ranking certified instructors in North America for Jeet Kune Do. For those of you that don't know, Jeet Kune Do is Bruce Lee's art. He's the one that invented that discipline. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background on that, Bruce Lee had 4 instructors, 4 main guys. One of them was a gentleman by the name of Dan Inosanto. Dan Inosanto took another guy under his wing named Paul Vunak. Well, Paul Vunak happened to be Joe Solis's main instructor in Jeet Kune Do. So that puts us 4 people away from Bruce Lee. So I only bring these little nuggets up as a point because for people to discount him and say, well, he's got no experience, that could be the furthest thing from the truth. Like, he's got over 30 years of experience. And I'll throw this one in. He also has a black belt in Taekwondo. We're not going to hold that one against him. But the point I'm making, guys, is that I think where I kind of was floored on the reaction was more along the lines that everybody was so hardcore and ready to, cancel Joe and say, he's got no business, he's got no experience. When if people had just took a step back and kind of looked into him a little bit further, they would have saw that he's one of the most qualified martial artists on the planet. I get where Dominic and Joe come from, because we have seen in certain states where they just let some dude from break check come on in and ref a fight, or judge, basically, because the commissions are super weird in certain states. And I get where they were coming from, but I don't get the reaction. The reaction after the fact was what kind of threw me off. Like, I watched the fight. There were certain fights where I was kind of like, I don't know about that. But here's the cool thing, Jason. I didn't have to, even if I didn't agree with one of the fights or the way it was scored, I have enough damn sense to take a step back and realize, hey, you know what? I've never been in a cage. I've never been a referee. I've never been a judge. So understanding those things, I may not agree with the decision. I may have a difference of opinion, but that's where it ends. What I don't do is take to Twitter and try to go on this campaign and crusade to have someone crucified when I don't have the knowledge or the skill set to speak on it intelligently. And I'm not gonna join that bandwagon. And I think that's the thing that I wanted to kind of talk to you about, was this whole cancel culture. Like, when did that become okay to basically disagree with somebody and then basically just try to destroy their credibility and their reputation online? Like, that's the kind of thing that I don't understand. And you're like great about social media. You know me, I tinker here and there. If you see a post from me, I'm sure it comes up on your thing. Hey, Ronnie posted for the first time in 9 years.
Pretty much.
I'm not a professional, on social media, but I know you spend a lot of time on there, probably about 20 hours a day, I would imagine.
Something like that.
Right around there. But like,
I gotta sleep sometimes.
But that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, was the reaction and this cancel culture we're living in, as far as like, when did that become cool,
Well, I think if you step back and first, like, we've both known Joe for our entire martial arts journey, because we all started back at Elite together.
Yeah.
And so we go way back as far as knowing Joe, and everything you said about Joe's correct. He's an absolute complete martial artist and extremely knowledgeable. He's been judging fights for a really long time. And yeah, I think a lot of people disagreed maybe with the decision, but there was a couple breakdowns, people who with knowledge who took a step back and looked at the cards, did some breakdowns, and were like, he wasn't crazy what he was putting down. The other judges agreed with rounds.
Right.
He wasn't alone in the rounds he was judging. It's just the way that it broke down. It just broke down weird. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm not a professional judge. I don't know I can go by my eye test and see who I think is winning the fight. And I've got we've been training for a long time, watched a lot of fights. So, you have that. You have common sense or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you're a judge. So I don't criticize the judging at all. And looking back at it, it's not crazy what he wrote or how he judged it at all. And yeah, and I know there was like connections to a couple of fighters. Look, it's Houston. We're a big city, but when it comes to the martial arts community, it's still a small community. So when you have someone like Joe, who's been ingrained in the martial arts community here for however freaking many years it's been, yes, he has connections with different camps, different fighters, different gyms with everybody. Yeah. You and me have connections with different gyms and different people all over the city. Like, if you're here in this city and someone from the city's fighting, we probably know who they are, or at least know who their instructor is. So I mean, that's silly that there was a connection. Like, of course, it's a small community. There's connections in every state you go to. There's going to be a connection between one or two of the judges and some of the people on the card somehow, right? Yeah. You're like, there's a couple of degrees of separation between all of us at some point. So that was silliness. The reaction was, I mean, we saw it coming through. I remember you texted me that morning, like, dude, like, something's going on. And we just start seeing the social media blow up. And, those are the same, it's the cancel culture thing. I'm not even sure. I think they got started more on the politics side, with people, trying to ban people from speaking and put people on blast for having a different opinion, and as a way to try to shut down speech. But I think it's bled over into all areas of social media. Like it's a tactic used. Oh, we don't like that guy because of this thing, so let's let's dox him, put his information out there online so people can drive by his house, and so to intimidate someone, to make them, and it's an intimidation tactic. And it's from people who probably are not very knowledgeable about fights, who maybe they train but haven't trained that long, or they have mental issues and they just lash, or they're just angry and unhappy with their life. So when they get a chance to try to lash out, make themselves feel better, they do it through social media because it's a safe place to do it. Because, what's that? One of my favorite memes, and I was actually going to post it, was social media has made people comfortable with disrespecting you without the fear of getting punched in the face. And it's true, because if you, in front of these same people, would never say that to Joe's face. They would never go in front of his face and say this, because they would get punched in the face and they would get owned. Maybe they would. I don't know. Joe would probably walk away. But if the threat of him getting punched in the face would prevent them from disrespecting him to his face. Yeah. So, social media just allows for... It's a strange world where it allows for people to express opinions without fear, and even anonymously. Not always, but the feeling of anonymity, because there's so much distance between you and whoever you're criticizing, because you're online. Yeah. And you can just hit block too. If I can just make myself disappear from that person. If I'm afraid of them coming back at me and whatever, I can just blast my comments and run away. Yeah. Or I can blast comments and troll. There's a thing called trolling, where people just say shit just to get a reaction out of people, and just to see how much they can, how far they can push them and get them to overreact and do crazy shit. Social media is weird. Social media can be a really good thing. It can be used for a lot of positivity and sharing of knowledge, which I think is when it's great, and connecting people around the world who have common interests and can share those common interests. That's what's that's one of the best things about social media. The worst things are what happened to Joe. Like, that was so beyond. There was no call for that in any fashion. And Dominique Cruz was wrong. Shouldn't have done that. Like, I get it. We watched that fight, and a lot of us felt like John Jones probably lost the fight. Like, I felt like he lost the fight too, and I didn't like seeing him get a pass. I'm not saying he was given a pass, but it felt like he was given a pass twice almost, because that last fight I felt like he was real close to losing that fight as well. And for that performance, when the other guy worked his ass off, like, that guy worked his ass off to win that fight. Now, in a rematch, I don't think it's close. I think Jones demolishes the guy in a rematch, but not the point. For that fight, I thought that guy won. So I get the frustration. Like, what the fuck? This guy just poured in everything. You tell he worked his ass off in training camp. He had Jones flustered. He prevented so much of prevented Jones from doing so much of what he normally does in a fight. It was impressive. Yeah. And so, you hate to see that guy, lose what maybe he probably earned. That sucks, because anybody who's seen someone go through fight camps and seen what they go through, for them to go through all of that and then to have a decision prevent them from getting what many people felt like they earned. Yeah, it's frustrating, especially for a fighter who understands it in his soul, like Dominique Cruz. He understands it in his soul what that guy went through. Yeah. That's why I think he took a lot of exception to that decision. Plus, there was other issues throughout the fight. And I don't know if that was referring to Joe or some of the other refs, but they were bringing up some stuff about judges not paying attention and.
But it turns out they have monitors now. So
I know, and I think there was a frustration build up, and Joe Rogan was saying stuff too. He wouldn't call him by name, but Dominique did, and then of course Joe Rogan did, I think, later, and through Twitter. And I think there's another thing about that is when you have a presence like a Joe Rogan, who's in the fight world, there's no name better known than Joe Rogan. Like, no fighter's name is better known than Joe Rogan. More people know who Joe Rogan is than Dana White or any of those people, right? He's got the most millions and millions of people who listen to his podcast. So he's got and I think he's pretty good about it. Although I think he slipped up on this one. He's got a platform that gives him a lot of influence in our community, a great deal of influence in our community. So when he is saying those things, people take it like it's coming from the mouth of MMA, royalty, MMA Jesus. Yeah. That's what it's taken as, and therefore it is doctrine. And I just think I don't think he was trying to do the cancel culture thing. I don't think that's his MO at all. I think he disagreed and was probably upset about some of the judging and let his opinions be known on that. So as far as the cancel culture thing goes, that's just small-minded people, bro. Small-minded people, in my opinion, and those are the kinds of people that do stuff like that. And that's what was happening. And you have those people in jiu-jitsu and MMA. You have a lot of MMA fans who don't even train. But they're the same guys talking about punch them in the face and stuff like that at the fight, and they jump on that bandwagon, and it's just a thing they do, man. I don't know. I'm not into it. I can't jump on that. I just can't. But you see it, and it's throughout. It's just throughout our entire culture now. It's part of the landscape with having social media. It's such an integrated part of everything everybody does.
Listening to you and just reading about this whole cancel culture last night, it got me realizing that today's cancel culture and this whole movement, it's olden times version of witch.
Same mindset, right?
I don't have to have any proof. I don't have to have any research. But if I get enough people to buy in that you're a witch, you're fucked. They're gonna burn you, man. And it's like,
or drown you.
Yeah, right. And it's just like, man, like, but it's crazy to me that, we live in such a modern time, but yet we still manage to incorporate like such prehistoric like rituals almost. Not on the level where, it was back then where they, you'd end up dead, but
depends on where you live, bro.
Yeah, that's true too.
We just live in a really fortunate place.
Yeah, but it's funny to me because it's kind of like, man, I don't get this whole idea where, everyone has a platform now and everyone has, like you said, Dominic made his comment and he actually went out of his way to encourage people to start this, ball rolling and, put them out there by name. And it's just like, and we saw it, like you said, we saw it on Twitter, how it just kind of like exploded. And the thing that just, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. Like I said, if people were being factual, then, you can have, I think, a civilized conversation. But the fact that people were just so dismissive about, his qualifications, that was the thing that just blew me out of the water.
Well, they didn't even know. There was weird stuff coming out like, this guy, he's only ref 3 fights. Why is he? I was like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Where are you getting your research from? And then some guy popped up who wasn't actually Joe Solis, but was responding to stuff.
Yeah, he was
as if he was
trolling.
Joe Solis. Yeah, he was trolling, which was, it's kind of funny a little bit. But yeah, that thing took on talk about a snowball effect. And it's so weird because he's just down the street and we know him, and you're going, these people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. This is bananas,
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. But it seems like you kind of talked about earlier where people having a platform these days, it can be a double-edged sword because like this was a terrible example of how powerful social media can be and the platform. But then we've also seen a lot of good come out of these type of platforms, like when you have your favorite, my favorite, when these fake black belts get outed.
Love fake black belts.
That's when it's just kind of like, part of me wants to be like, damn, we need to do something about this and it needs to be policed and we can't have people just getting destroyed and their credibility, being questioned. But then you have situations like that where it's like, oh my God, if we didn't have this platform, we wouldn't be able to communicate in a very public way that, hey, that dude over there is a little bit suspect, and but then again, even on that level, when it's being used for quote unquote good to warn people of, a fake, black belt or instructor out there, you can you've seen it too in that case when it's being used for good, but it can, even then, it's like the shaming can be a little bit much sometimes, like, have you seen this?
I've seen all the ones I've seen, I've liked. I think there's a way to go about it if you're going to, I don't want to say shame a black belt, but call out a fake black belt. There's a way to do it. There's a way to go about it. I've seen some guys do it well, and I've seen some guys probably
a little bit aggressive.
Maybe they may, and yes, maybe there or poor. What's the word I'm looking for? Poor form, for a lack of a better term. I can't think of the quite term, but not in a classy way. There's a way to do it, and there's a way not to do it. But I will say I think overall that's a positive thing, because one good thing about our community is it's pretty good about policing itself. It's pretty good about, calling out people who are fake black belts or whatever, or up to no good. Usually they gets called out. And, there's other issues where you got legit black belts who are doing shady ass stuff, and eventually they get called out. And we're pretty good about calling out our own. We'll put it out there. You got different jiu-jitsu websites. They'll put it on blast when someone gets caught up doing some inappropriate shit, either with students or whatever. And so we're pretty good, I think, mostly, excuse me, we're pretty good about policing our own. That's where social media is good. But yeah, I haven't seen a good fake black belt one in a little while. So I kind of wonder if all the call outs have really pushed, have prevented those guys from trying to, at least they're staying super low key. They got like 3 students who they've convinced.
No cell phones in class.
Yeah, and they I know the jiu-jitsu death touch, but you can't videotape this. And so, and you got 3 white belts who have no fucking clue. So they're like, yeah, this guy knows the secret jiu-jitsu stuff.
Maybe someday I can learn it,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a weird time, man. Like I said, it's when you see certain things, I immediately feel like, man, why don't you shut up and get your ass on these mats and just train and go do something productive. Yes. But then you see, like you said, other examples where it's like it can be beneficial. So it's kind of like I said, it's a double-edged sword, and I don't know. I guess because maybe I don't spend that much time on social media. But when I do, it's like it's just almost always a shit show on online. It's just always like it's always the negative shit. It's always just like some person's done this or that person's done that, and it's just like, man, I don't know, man. It's a weird dynamic, but I guess it is what it is. It's things go in cycles. We were again talking back about olden times to where it's just kind of becoming full circle, not as extreme. And
we're not psychiatrists or historian majors or sociology majors, so I can't go back and go, well, the human psyche has not changed over the last 500 years. So when people were burning witches, or there were, what do you call it with the churches coming over here?
Oh, yeah.
The Catholic Church. Gosh, why can't I think of what that's called? But they were torturing everybody for not believing in Jesus or whatever. Or I don't know. Those are the same, I guess, the same group think type deal going on. Maybe I don't know. Look, we're simple people. Like, we're simple creatures. Just because our technology's advanced to where it is today, and we have the entire knowledge of the universe in our phone, or at least the entire knowledge of the world in our phone, in our palm of our hand, which is so weird, and we use it for the things that we use it for. Right. Clearly we haven't advanced as a species as far as mentally that far, when we're still doing the stupid shit that we did 500 years ago. Still not that bad. I mean, depending on where you live in the world, but I don't know. Social media is a good thing. The internet's a good thing as long as you use it for good things. But if you want to use it for bad things, it's going to be used for bad things. It's just like everything else. I got a story from the mat. So I popped my knee.
I was going to ask you how was the knee.
So I popped my knee a week ago from Friday. So what's it, man? It's been like 9 days. And it first popped it. I was like, fuck, man. I thought, because I popped the other one, and it's the LCL. I popped the LCL and the right one before, and I had to take like 4 to 6 weeks off. And I remember I was like, for like 3 or 4 years, probably 4 years, it hurt. It just hurt all the time. I could feel it.
Yeah.
And then finally, I haven't felt it in a long time. So I did this one, and I was like, fuck, man. So I was still lifting, but real carefully. I bought, someone suggested I buy a really good brace, and I did, and that helped out a lot. And so I was still lifting and training. I just wasn't training. I was just coming to class, teaching, and then I would go home. And but about, what was it? I think it was Wednesday. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to roll a little bit. It's feeling pretty good. Professor Brian gave me some super crazy freaking CBD balm to put on my knee. And I don't know what's in it. I don't know what kind of magic they put in it, but I started putting that stuff on a week ago.
Witchcraft.
It's witchcraft. I mean, maybe we should maybe he needs to be burned at the stake. I don't know, because that shit worked too good. And it's like it worked immediately. Like I felt I felt my knee feel better immediately from just using that and putting a brace on it.
Yeah.
So Wednesday I rolled light, and only with, I was being very selective with who I rolled with, obviously, because I couldn't go the way I want to go, but I wanted to just to test it out. And I remember one of our white belts, one of our tall, very athletic white belts, great kid. I love the guy. I was like on my third roll, and I was trying to pick the right person. And in fact, I think I was going to roll Lauren. I was like, Lauren, let's roll, because I got my knees jacked. I need someone I can trust. She's like, okay. So I was going to roll Lauren, and he wanted to roll with me. He's like, it was Thomas. He's trying to call me out. Hey, Professor, let's roll. I was like, not today, bro. He's like, why not? I said, man, I'm just trying to be careful. And he goes, I think I got good control of my body, bro. I was like,
oh man, I love Thomas,
dude. I was like, Thomas, man, I'm not. You're still a white belt. You don't understand
you don't even know
what you're doing yet.
You
know, and you're very long and athletic and strong. You twist or move the wrong way on this knee. I can't. I love rolling with you. Don't get me wrong. I have a great time rolling with you because those are my favorite rolls. Those really long, tall, athletic guys that are not the ones that are black belts, because you're just getting burked. But like the lower level guys, because they give you that athleticism, and so you can't just, it's not easy. You got to actually use good technique to deal with stuff. So it's a lot of fun. I have fun rolling with Thomas, but not that day. But when he looked at me, he was like, he just kind of put his hands up, like, "What do you mean? I got good control of my body."
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I love you, man, but not today. Maybe in a couple weeks, bro.
Tomas is such a cool kid, man. It's funny when he's talking about having control, because the tournament we were at, there was not one but 3 black belts watching, coaching, screaming at him. He did, and we were just talking about this last night. He did everything absolutely wrong in his first match. I mean, it was the crazy. He was doing things that I'm like, I've never seen you put yourself in such terrible positions in training. But he was literally, I don't know if he was trying to challenge himself and put himself in the worst possible positions. He's not listening to nobody. And I was talking to him the other night. He was like, I totally wasn't listening to you guys. I couldn't even hear anything. And so we were talking about this. And then he does everything wrong and throws up a triangle
out of
no fucking
I didn't even see it coming.
Like, he was dead to rights. This kid probably racked up a bunch of points on him. He was definitely on his way to catch that first L. And then comes out of nowhere after doing everything wrong, throws up a fucking beautiful triangle, and then proceeds to fucking murk everybody in the tournament with triangles of all things.
Yeah, he did.
But it's so funny and it's so awesome. Like, what? This guy, like, I got you. I'll take care of you, coach. It's like, nah, I'm going to pass. And that's when you feel like, hey, it's not you, it's me. But it's really you 100%. I can't risk it. And it's not an insult to Tomas.
No.
We love him to death. But it's just one of those things where it's like, trust me, someday you're going to look back on this and be like,
you're going to laugh about it.
I get why they didn't want to roll with me.
You're going to laugh about it, because you're going to be like, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember when I thought I had control. And he's a fun roll. I have loved rolling with him. Just not when I'm injured, It's like just like what's his name? I can't think of his name. The big athletic wrestler guy.
Andrew.
Andrew. I love rolling with him because, man, he's first of all, he's a good wrestler. So he's got that in his pocket, and then he's big and strong and athletic. So it's a roll. Like, you're gonna go, and he's hard. He's hard to catch him because he's just it's just hard. He's a white belt, but it's so much fun because it's always all these transitions and moves and it's a great roll. But that day, no, not rolling with him that day. It was easy peasy, guys.
I get it, man, and I'm proud of you, like I said, because my stupid
you're
ass.
not like that.
No, I'd be like, let's go, guys. I gotta see if I can pop the other side. I've already got 2 pops.
Then you're out 2 weeks. I don't know what happened. I don't know, Jason. I don't know, man. I was just rolling and.
Yeah, no, man, I'm proud of you, because I know my dumb ass have been like, sure, why not? What's the worst that could happen?
Fuck that, dude. I don't want to not roll for a while. I was still thinking about competing in Houston Open. I was wanting to do it, and I popped my knee. I was like, oh, we'll see how this week goes. If it's still open,
how far is it?
No, it's coming. It's next month. So if I want to sign up, it's got to be this week. So I want to kind of feel out my knee this week, and I'm gonna do open mat after this, and with the right people. And we'll see how it feels, because they'll push me a little bit. And there's still a little twinge in it. Like, I felt it last time I rolled, which was Friday, Dogi class. Certain positions I felt like the outside, I could feel it something didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So I would have to move and get out of that position. So I'm, or if you try to twist my leg a certain way, I could feel it. So it was probably not, but we'll see how this week goes. I'm probably being overconfident just because I can do most things, but competition level is, I don't know. Competition level is different because when you compete, especially the black belt level, it's like it's you have to be
tip top condition most likely.
well. It's on all levels. It's hard. Like everybody's going hard, and most people have trained hard. So there's no let up. There's no relaxing when you're competing. It's 5-6 minutes of 5 minutes of going 100%. Like it's rough, man. You got to be ready to go, and you're going to get moved. And that guy doesn't care if your knee's jacked. Yeah. In fact, if he finds out it's jacked, guess what? Guess what's getting attacked?
Yeah.
A fucking knee. So I don't know. We'll see. I was looking forward to actually getting back into competing. I may have to delay it a couple months, but anyway. Yeah. That's the status of my knee. How about you? You got any injuries? You got anything that I need to look for when I'm rolling with you so I can get a tap?
Mostly my pride. Other than that, no, nothing.
Your pride.
No, I'm pretty good right now. I didn't get to train almost all last week, and so finally was able to get back on the mats like late. I think Thursday or something. And so it's funny, man, because it doesn't matter like if you don't train for 3 days or 5 days. I've noticed that the first thing that goes is usually like I feel it in my cardio, and then I feel it in my timing. Like it's the weirdest thing. Like my brain's like, oh, it's right there, but my body's just reacting just a second too late. And that second is like
everything.
Well, it can be, Yeah, it's like belts, you see the move in your mind. You get ready to go, but your body just does not have that same reaction. Like your timing's off, cardio's off, and I don't know, man. It's the craziest thing to me how. I can't think of anything else that I do or have done where taking just 3 days off just has such an effect on everything that you do, when you try to get back into it. And
it's kind of weird because some people, when they take a couple days off, it actually helps them. That's helped me before when I've taken, like I'm rolling, and then I'll take like 3 days off or something like that, and I'll come back, and sometimes I'll feel like real rejuvenated and fresh, and like everything starts clicking a little quicker for me.
I wonder if it's this. So like, I've had a few motorcycles in my heydays, and I've always said this. There's a big difference, Jason, between wanting to ride your motorcycle and having to ride your motorcycle. I went through I had this one motorcycle where I had to ride it for 2 weeks because my car was in the shop, and every day about 15 minutes to gear up because I wasn't a squid. Boots, jacket.
What's a squid?
A squid is a term in the motorcycle community where you see these ass clowns on the highway doing, wheelies, not wearing any gear, no gloves, no boots, no helmets, no nothing. They call those squids because
they get squashed
when they hit the ground. They look like a squid. So it's
nice.
a motorcycle term. So this guy. No squid. Full gear.
I'm sure you bought everything off Amazon. It was all the latest, coolest technology possible.
Was. But here's the thing. This was in the summer, dude.
Yeah.
By the time you geared up, you're already sweating. You haven't even walked out the house. Now you got to ride in this hot-ass heat to and from work. When I finally got my car back, I didn't look at my bike for about a month. I hated that thing. But I loved my bike.
Yeah.
And I think that what you're talking about is kind of the same kind of concept where there's a difference when you can't train versus you taking a few days off to recover and letting your body just kind of, rest up. I think in that case, mentally, when you come back, you're fucking ready to get after it. You're fired up. Like, man, I'm ready to go.
You've been thinking about it.
Yeah, but when you have like an injury or some other reason why you can't train, then it's like, damn, this sucks, man. And I think it maybe messes with you mentally where it's just kind of like, I don't know, maybe you get into this weird funk and then you come back and everything just feels off. So I wonder how much of that is just like that same kind of concept where there's a big difference between having to do something and wanting to do something, so.
Dude, I got a gym story for you. So, I've been training at 2 gyms.
Oh my God. Can you be clear? Because people think you're talking about jiu-jitsu.
No. Lifting at 2 different gyms. So I lift in the morning, I lift in the afternoon before I come in to train. And the gym I work out in the morning, it's a Lifetime gym, and it's like more of your professional, older. There's all age groups, but it's a little older age group because it's an expensive gym. and it's more of that type of membership, right? And this other gym I go to, Alpha Elite, in the afternoon, it's like it's definitely a much younger crowd. Everybody in there has high def cameras and is videotaping all their workouts.
Damn.
I videotape some of mine too, but that's not the point. These guys got like the high def one with like the fuzzy mic on top. They're setting it up. I see them sitting at the bench and they're explaining how they're going to bench press something. I'm like, bro, bench pressing is not fucking rocket science. Like, I don't know what you're fucking explaining. Anyway, so it's like everybody, and these girls walking around in their skimpy ass outfits, taking pictures of themselves and photo shoots, and it's funny. It's actually, as far as people watching goes, it's a great place to people watch because you see the most narcissistic behavior I've ever seen in my life. People so in love with themselves, it's insane. But they're all like early 20s, right? Except there's like a couple old guys, not this guy, a couple old guys like in their 50s walking around hitting on all the young girls.
Yeah.
Which is, but they got money because they be pulling up in like, Audi A8s and shit. So they're out there, they're trying to sugar daddy some of these girls, and I'm sure they are. So it's fucking hilarious. But anyway, so I go, I put my headphones on, I fucking knock out my lift, I go. I know like 2 people in that gym, and that's just because I know them outside and just in the real world. Anyway, I'm on a platform. For the uneducated, a platform is a place where you do deadlifts, squats, and stuff like that. You got a bar, you get.
Why are you pointing at me?
Because I knew you would not know what I meant by the platform. So anyway,
I totally thought you meant a social media platform. I was like, wait, what?
Exactly. So I'm on a platform, right? And next to me is these 2 guys, and they're deadlifting. Now, they're deadlifting a little bit of weight, like 500 plus, which is pretty good. It ain't world shattering. Like, a lot of people can deadlift 500 plus. But, but they're like videotaping it. They're walking around, pumping their chest, doing all this crazy shit. I'm over here doing my basic little, I ain't lifting no heavyweight. I'm just doing my basic little freaking thing I'm doing, just working my reps, just doing my workout. And this fucking guy is getting ready to lift, and he literally, while I'm on my platform, walks onto my platform, primping and peacocking to the 3, this 2 girls and these 2 guys and that are watching them and videotaping. And he's standing there with his back to me, and I'm looking at the back of his head. And all I'm thinking is, bro, like, I'm not saying I'm the toughest guy on the planet. Pretty sure I can choke you out, though. Like, I'm pretty sure I could put you to sleep in front of everybody.
And you gave up his back.
And you could get that on HD video and post that shit, right? Like, I'm pretty sure I can. I feel very confident in my skills. But I'm just standing at the back of his head. He never looks at me, but I know, like, you know how when someone's like looking at you, like, what the fuck? I think he kind of got that feeling, and he finally kind of stepped off and did his thing. But I thought, bro, like, I almost was like, you know what? Maybe I don't need to be at this gym because they're gonna catch me on the wrong day. And I'm a pretty chill dude. Like, I'm a pretty chillax dude for the most part. But I do have that switch, right? Like, I have that switch, especially when I'm going through stress or something. And it's building up, my PTSD from work and all the other bullshit starts building up, and that switch clicks. I've been known to maybe have an incident at a gym where someone goes to jail. I'm just not this guy. I'm just saying it may have happened before, and almost get put to sleep. So I'm just saying that I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but it could have happened. It was like it could have happened. You know what I'm saying? It was like, but I was like, I got a career. It could go wrong. Yeah. There's a lot of heavy shit here. If he's not a small guy, so if he picks me up and slams me somewhere, my head could hit real bad. I was like, I need to go back to my jiu-jitsu center and my Zen gorilla self and center myself.
That's because you hadn't been training jiu-jitsu. That fucking.
No, I hadn't been training because my knee was jacked up, and I was just trying to work.
Jiu-jitsu makes everything better, man. You know what? You should probably have a segment. I don't know what you would call it, but basically, like, how we do our deer white belt, like a deer kind of for your weightlifting things, because I'm sure there's a bunch of bad etiquette. But nobody lifts
weights that watch. I've seen. I
lift, but I'm.
You did 3 pull-ups like 3 weeks ago.
This is 4, and you still owe me 40 pull-ups, by the way. So
40. You did 3. I owe you 33.
All right, whatever. I mean, it is what it is.
We'll knock that out when we leave here.
Man, do you got any?
We got deer white belt segment coming up. We need to hit the deer. I don't even know how long we've been on because I don't have my clock. I have no idea.
We've been going pretty good.
We're about on point.
So, before I get into that, are you legally able to talk about the incident that happened at the gym that one time?
I don't see why not. I mean, I tell you, I think it's safe.
Oh, here's my.
It's not work because I was off duty.
So here's what I'm asking. If the listeners would like to hear this fucking amazing story about this guy getting into it at the gym. What is it?
Lifetime. Lifetime, yeah.
In the parking lot, please comment or hit us up because I think you guys would get a kick out of this story.
Maybe we'll do this. I'll tell the story next time.
No, not today, but that's what I'm saying.
Next time.
That's what I'm saying. If the people want to listen to it,
it's a good story.
Let's go into that.
It's a story. I did exactly everything I tell new officers not to do.
Yes, absolutely. Well,
but it worked out. It worked out just fine.
So, one thing I want to talk about next week, because I thought it was super cool, and we're on time now. But yesterday we had a Parents' Day at the academy.
Yeah, that's right.
And so basically, what it was the students got to bring their parents. Their parents got to participate in the class, and the lesson, and the warm ups. And I really want to talk to you about that next week. Maybe I should wait till next week. Or I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right now. You know how we do our Dear White Belts? Well, I got one for you. It's the Dear Parents.
Ah, I like this one.
And so we'll elaborate more on this next week. But here's my Dear Parents. Dear parents, when you bring your kid into an academy to try out any martial arts, doesn't matter what discipline it is, as a parent, manage your expectations. I know that maybe you were, King Dick of your football team or whatever it was that you did in your glory days, and that's great. But sometimes we have a tendency to put those expectations on our kid, and we think that, he's just going to be a natural at everything he does,
Mm-hmm.
And I get it because we want the best for our kids, and we see our kids in a different light. And like I said, we'll get more into this next week. But my dear parents, instead of my dear white belt this week, will be when you bring your kid to join any kind of martial art, manage your expectations. And I'll leave it at that for today.
I think, that's a good one. I think a Dear Parent segment is pretty good. Not every week, but I think we kind of talked about parents a little bit when we did that tournament a little while back where we were coaching. But yeah, parents, I've been coaching kids in one way or another for a long time. Like when I was in college, it's a funny story. I used to teach gymnastics. Never done gymnastics in my life, bro. But they taught me how to do like cartwheels and round offs and how to teach them to do stuff and like tumbling. Like I was tumbling. I was like actually spotting and teaching girls to like cheerleaders to how to tumble. I can't tumble to save my life. Like if I tried to, I'd smack. I'd like probably have a back injury from smacking my head because I have no idea. But I was really good at spotting it and all that stuff. So it was kind of funny. But I've been around teaching kids for a long time, and there's definitely the parental expectation or pressure they put on their kids sometimes, especially like in a which you can be similar here, but like in a situation like at a gymnastics academy where you got kids that are actually Olympic level athletes there. The parents want to see their kids achieve that, and I think there is a tendency for parents to try to relive their glory days or to live through their kids' athletic accomplishments. And I think the biggest thing that parents need to remember is that this is for fun. This is as Rogan says, it's a development for it's a tool for developing young children into strong individuals. It has nothing to do with if they're going to become world champions. Like that, don't worry about that. If that's going to happen, it'll take its own path. The kid will jump into it and really be dying to do it. But if they're not, just let them have fun. Don't put all those expectations on kids, and just enjoy watching your kid have fun. Just enjoy your kid having a good time, and I think that then you're going to get the most. You're going to get the most out of it. So, dear parent, let your kid have fun.
Yep, that's it. Man.
All right,
that's
guys.
a good one.
Well, I think it's a good way to close it out.
Yep, like I said, folks, if you want to hear the crazy cop story, hit us up, send us a message.
I'll think about it. It's a good story, though.
We'd love to hear about it next
week. Good guy
won.
I'll just spoiler. Good guy won.
Yeah, he's here. So.
All right, guys.
All right, let's get out of here.